Hey y'all, I'm back. This is Oil Press 2. The other video is long. Hey. This is Oil Press 2, so I don't know if I'm gonna upload the first one because it's long, honey. It's an hour long, but I want to do timestamps for that one before I upload it because it's. But I'm back for Oil Press 2 because the comments are commenting, honey. Hold on one second. Um, I don't know why I didn't see her comment, but I'm just now seeing it. And so it says, maybe that woman didn't know that pastor was married. That's the only conclusion I can come up with is why she acted like that. She was pissed off when she found out, and she has a baby by that pastor too. But I'm glad at least that pastor was removed. And to his wife, according to the Bible, this is legal grounds for divorce. This is true. But there is a recent push. Just from different conversations I've been having lately, there's a big push for people to not get divorced due to infidelity. And I can say that adultery is a form of abuse. It is emotional abuse. You're dealing with someone being deceptive to you, and you're dealing with someone who are not keeping their word. Now, I do believe these things are true for those who are actually Christian marriages. I do believe that the take we have perception, goals, outcomes for Christian marriages are totally different than non-Christian marriages. And so therefore we can't hold them to the same standard as Christians. Now, as a pastor, I can honestly say, based on watching his interaction with his wife when he was caught, he had her come and do the statement while he's standing there behind her dressed in all white. And it was disgusting, disturbing. It showed how manipulative and domineering, controlling he is with his wife. And what it exhibited is why he felt comfortable cheating on his wife, because he has her like that. She's submitted to someone who doesn't have any problem taking advantage of her, using her, manipulating her, and knows she won't go anywhere because of the principles and beliefs within the Bible. It was disgusting that he was just standing there and he looked like a slimy, grimy greaseball pimp, like he was pimping her to be his face and mouth box because everyone liked her, respect her, not angry with her, and I'll hide behind her. It was disgusting. And so that tells me he would do it again. I'm pretty sure he already clapping with somebody else already. But that's true. Those are great assessments that you have on the subject. And so, hold on one second. I keep losing my place with her. Hold on one second. Someone else came along. Her name is Patricia Pinkney 177. She says she was a member of the church. She knew he was married. She wants to be the wife, and since he has been voted out, his wife is gonna let her have that position. Mm. And I would. I mean, and I've talked with you all about different subjects when it comes to marriage and my own marriage. And you can't stay with someone like that. You can't, because there's no bouncing back from that. The behavior will only escalate. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. I've always told people, and I've had to get up in a few people. I'm gonna leave that alone because they kept saying, you just got to give him a chance. You need to give him a chance. Hard stop. I did give him a chance. When I said I do, that was the chance. You don't, as a Christian, saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, you do not owe people more chances to hurt you and betray you. That is not the biblical description and implementation of forgiveness. That is exploitation, that is abuse, that is you taking for granted the grace and presence of God in your life. That is you hiking your behind up on a cross doing God's job, Christ's job. That's not your job. That's not your job description. Get your behind down and let him go to the cross and let him play with Christ, asking for unlimited chances to break covenant with Christ, break covenant with God. You understand? He expect for that covenant to stay in place if he's deceptive, lying to you. So understand he gonna have the same type of relationship with Christ. If you want to know the viability and possibility, predictability of the possibility of your spouse cheating, you or your spouse cheating, pay attention to their relationship with God. Pay attention to how they treat Christ. You see, you will never be nice enough, good enough, giving enough, sacrificial enough to compare to what Christ has done for that soul of that person. Nothing you will ever do as a spouse can remotely compare to what Christ has done for in their life. Pay attention to how they treat that relationship. Don't you ever, on your best day, believe that that person would treat you better than they treat Christ after he gave his life for them. He died for them. He rose for them. When they had no food and praying, then God made a way. All these things that God did for them. And you think, after all of that miraculous breath in their body, their existence, their conscience, their health, their well-being, needs met, all of that, all of that. And you see how they treat Christ. And you actually, if you ever believe that person gonna treat you better than they treat Christ and better than they treat God, you're disillusioned, dear. If you want to know the viability of that relationship, pay attention to what that relationship looks like. And just understand, oh yeah, if he ain't faithful and consistent with that, he definitely not going to be consistent and faithful with me. And you have to ask yourself too, in these instances, did they go to Christ and ask for forgiveness after they betrayed their spouse, or did they just go to the spouse, or did they just go to the congregation? That's another mockingbird as well. Yellow canary, excuse me. And then don't be a sucker. 61 said, I would do the same thing if I was his wife. But again, he might find out that the grass is not greener on the other side. But then again, sometimes it works out, but not usually. But I feel for the wife that had to go through this embarrassing situation. So sometimes um the the affair does end up birthing a what appears to be a healthy relationship for the adulterer, right? And the mistress or the mister. But hear me on this. It works out for them because they're in the same spiritual state. Is not going to work with somebody who are truly devout, truly surrendered, truly humble, truly in Christ. That it's not going to have the same outcomes as you would when you're dealing with somebody with the same spirit, the same familiar spirit. If they think it's okay to commit whoredoms and adulteries on Christ, excuse me, and God, yeah, they're going to mesh together. If they think breaking covenant it's the way you find the one, and sometimes people change, and sometimes, hey, that will work with those who are of the same belief, and I've seen instances. There is one in particular that just popped in my head. So this guy, he was married, children, um you know well, they have one, two, three children, and he started having a full-blown relationship affair with this other lady, right? To the point they started a business together and all of these other things going on. And the wife did, she wasn't privy to the fact that he has this full blown relationship. He was taking the children around the mistress, the small ones, taking them around the mistress and everything. So eventually, after breaking his wife down, she eventually found out. She found out about it. And so it took about a year or so, and then she decided to go ahead and file for divorce, but he never ever broke up with the mistress. So they went ahead, they moved in together, and calling themselves making a life together. But he was so adamant, telling everybody he's getting remarried again. He's so in love with her. She has the brand new, they purchased matching Mercedes together and all of this stuff. And so superficially, it looked like, he finally found his person. And clearly it wasn't his wife. Well, you look up now, he and the mistress are fighting like cats and dogs all of the time, physically fighting each other, right? And so all this time, she really, really, the mistress, now that they're together and know they didn't get married, she kept wanting to get pregnant and she wanted to have a baby by him because she didn't have any children. And, she really wanted to be a mom. And what happened? She ended up going to the doctor and found out she's sterile. She'll never parent, she'll never have children, and so now he's doing to her the same thing his wife went through. Yeah, because now he has a whole new business with somebody else, and she's pregnant with twins by him. But the other lady doesn't know he's cheating on someone and he has someone married. So he left his wife. He ended his marriage because of you. And now he detests you, can't stand you, despises you. And now he's dealing with someone else and she's pregnant by him. And he will continue this pattern of behavior. But that couple are not Christian either. They're not Christian. So when asked, for advice from me, I had to explain to them this is different because I have to approach this from a totally different lens because none of you, none of the parties involved in this, none of you are Christian. None of you. But you're asking for the miraculous. You're asking for a miracle for all of you. All of these parties involved. You're asking for something. And you need to ask first for salvation. Really. And the wives who encounter this, um it's life changing. You're never the same after that. You become very distrustful of people. You remain kind of at a distance. You're not as open to the biblical construct of relationships and love after your covenant is broken. You do not. Hold on one second. No, I'm not talking to you. I'm sorry. So you become a different person. Like the person you were in that relationship, the way you approach that relationship, what you invested, the way you felt, the supernatural beliefs about the person, the relationship, its purpose, its function, um, the unwavering, no blinking, no hesitation, trust, belief, support you have for a person, that part of you no longer exists. It doesn't exist. I know for me, that doesn't exist for me anymore. There is a part of me that will always remain the same as far as being empathetic, very passionate, and compassionate about people. That remains. But even now, having a lot of people in ministerial positions wanting to date me isn't an option. I don't trust people like that, especially in leadership. Uh-uh. I'm just in that place and space because when you're a Christian leader, before you assume that leadership, you have already solidified certain things in your marriage, in your household, that are already established before either of you assume those duties and responsibilities. And you're in the business of souls. You're responsible for souls. So you all of that is just out the window. It just doesn't exist. So I feel like the best way to describe it is a mourning and a grieving process, not just of the relationship itself, but parts of you that are gone. Like they were allocated and designated for that person, for that relationship. And you have to have like a process of grief or understanding that's not going to exist no more. It's gone. It's over. But for this wife, when I saw her, she was just standing there and he was standing behind her with this Cheshire cat grin on his face, like, yeah, I got away with it. Yeah. I mean, my heart was just torn in two for her because she deserved so much better. When you're that meek, when you're that humble, when you're that loving, when you're that forgiving, when you're that patient, because I know this Negro did it. I know he did it before. I'm certain of it. Because when they get to the point that they're that bold and brazen, that he would have it in the church in her face, he been doing it. He been doing it, right? And so because of that, I just felt heartbroken for her because she deserves so much better. She deserves genuine, sincere love. God is love. Without God, you can't love nobody. I believe that. Without God, you can't truly love nobody. Uh-uh. No, He is love. He said He is love. And so I just, watching the whole thing go down, I just wish and pray her healing and restoration as a woman, as a person. I pray she has the strength, the support system, the love, the conviction to get away from him. Because when people love their sin, when people love their wrongdoing, you're not going to be happy with them. Because it was very evident watching this man. He didn't have no problem with the way he humiliated her, desecrated her, made a mockery of her, made a fool of her, embarrassed her. He had no consciousness of that. He's up there. You can't put me out. You can't put me. He was so his priorities were all jacked up, and it wasn't to protect his wife, see the hurt in her eyes, see the pain in her eyes, see parts of her just fall apart because she probably knew something was going on. She probably didn't know who at the time, right? But I just, of course, as a PK, as a wife, as a friend, sister, I I know those instances too well from too many women. And it was very clear he didn't assess the damage. See, he was assessing the damage about him losing his job, but he didn't assess the damage to that woman as a person. I think in most instances, no one really assesses the damage to the wives. No one truly assess the damage to the wives. Why that is, I really don't know, but where the woman, the wife is and she's entreated from the position of, well, you got to forgive, try to make it work. Maybe y'all need to go in counseling, and carry on, right? Like she's some kind of workhorse, unfeeling, unloving. That stuff gonna be with that lady for years to come. It's not like you just cleaning off the top of your glass table in the dining room. Got some fingerprints on it. Go get microfiber cloth, vinegar, and wipe it down, and it's squeaky clean again. That's a person. That's a soul. That's a spirit. That's a person. And I don't think watching those videos, he never assessed the damage to that lady. And he never will. He's been watching her, looking at her, coming in and out of the house, laying next to her, watching her being broke down bit by bit by bit by bit. Get up, and he just walk around being a cat dad. A lot of them do it. A lot, not just pastoral leaders, ministerial leaders, Christian leaders. I'm talking about all over this world. They do it, and it does not bother them. And then it's dismissed with, oh, he just a man. He a man now. I mean, like, men have different husbands have different urges than a woman. Like, I don't know who told society that lie. The difference is that societal norms are taught to women in their childhood that women are not promiscuous, and if they are undesirable to men. So women take that real serious, right? So it's ingrained in them since they've been little girls to not be that way. Whereas boys, they're taught something different. There isn't any shame, ridicule, rejection associated with their indiscretions and promiscuous behavior. Messed up, yeah, but is it true? Yeah, that's just the difference in societal norms. Um, when this happened to men, people immediately say, like, oh my God, that's going to drive him crazy. Oh my God, I know he is so hurt. I know he is hurt. I know. Oh my God, can you imagine? Like, everybody kind of we can't even fathom how it destroyed, if when a man's wife cheat on him. We can't even imagine how that just destroys his entire life, his entire everything. But we don't necessarily take that same approach with women. And why? I don't know. Um, it's not green on the other side. It never is. Yes, my prayers are with the wife through humiliation. She spoke with grace. Only way I see situations like this work out that they relocate to any city. He sends his child support and keep his distance, but in the end, the child suffers, getting the short end of the stick because of lust. Well, that's the thing too. Oh my God, hey Clark, how you doing, honey? Um, the problem is that a child born out of wedlock is one thing, but a child born due to adultery, that's something totally different. I know adults who are the products of adultery, and it messes with them their whole life. It does, not just when they're children, but it messes with them throughout their development and maturation, and you know, it get in their head space, right? And because of that, um, I have great concerns and prayers for the baby girl or boy, that, God shows grace and mercy to this child and keep them, cover them. Because that guy, he's just as slick as oil on glass. He ain't nothing to play with. And we will probably see more from this character again. There is nothing more disturbing than men who use the pulpit for them to pull chicks. That is gross. That is gross. It really is. That's a sign that you just ugly. You just ugly. You got horrible dating skills. You don't have a personality. You don't have no game to meet and attract women like a normal man. Men like normal men. Like you have to, do it from the pulpit. That's gross. And let me make it clear. It ain't always because these men chasing these women now. Because I done seen them and I know about it. These chicks be right in church going hard after these married men. They don't care. Let me say it again. They don't care, honey. They feel like, well, if he go for it, then he must have wanted me. So that's on you. It's gross, I know, but it's true. That's some of their uh, you know, beliefs on the subject, even though it's gross, dis- disgusting, selfish. That's what they believe in. You get what I'm saying? And that's what they want to do. People justify it. Why? I don't know. I'm not one of those people that are able to justify that kind of behavior because I think it's gross. Um, but yeah, that's the world we're in right now. You get what I'm saying? That people feel comfortable doing things like this. And the new approach is that, well, be mad at the spouse, be mad at the, husband or wife who are cheating. Don't be mad at the person who actually cheating with them. And unfortunately, I have to be honest, honey, you're not in touch with reality. Because that just sounds like to me, you just don't want no consequences for what you're doing. You don't want to get your behind beat. Now, I can tell you, my grandma was or is saved, sanctified, holy woman, precious woman, amazing woman of God. Let me tell you something. My granddad decided that he was going to have him a girlfriend. That's what he decided. Now, this lady, she, pretty much, we saw her all the time, and she'll be walking right up to my grandma and talking to her like ain't nothing going on. And somebody decided to go ahead and tell my grandma that he was messing with her. And my grandma put us in that darn Chrysler, Fifth Avenue. She put us right in that car. But before she got in the car, she grabbed a 4x4. Anybody know what a 4x4 is? Huh? Do you know what it is by any chance? Okay. A piece of wood. It's a piece of wood. I won't get it wrong. 4x4 piece of lumber. Okay. A 4x4 is actually 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Now, so I don't know if that's a 4x4, 2x4, 3x4, but it is a long piece of block wood that you could use possibly as a bat. Anyway, she pulled up in that yard and she blared on that horn and she told us to stay in the car. And she got out and she was calling his name. She just kept calling him and she said, "Get out this, get out that door." And he came out that door and he looked really, really scared. And she told him to walk home. And the lady came outside and said, he here with me and that's where he wanna be. And honey, I can tell you, my grandmother took that wood and she beat her natural bone brains up. I mean, she got her behind beat down to the very bottom of the ground on that hot summer day down in Florida. She got her behind beat down, and grandma ain't mess around. She got beat like she was a runaway slave who thought she was going to escape to freedom, but that was not her day that day. No, no, no. That night, she realized that You don't go playing that game thinking you just gonna pick you up somebody else's husband because he already ready made, he already a husband. Just trade her out for me. Well, honey, he ain't go back down there no more. We ain't never seen that no more. I mean, literally. When he used to be taking us to the marina to go fishing, he would always avoid that street at all costs. He ain't even ride on that street no more. I'm telling you, he would take the long way. That's how traumatic it was. And trust me, it wasn't no smooth sailing in the house when he got home neither. Because it says sanctified, thick white stocking, slip wearing, skirt down to the floor. My grandma was. She made it very clear that it ain't no play when it comes her way, when it comes to her house, her honor and her dignity. And that's what a lot of young women don't understand, and they'll switch it back to, well, that's the man, he dishonored you. She don't have no loyalty to him. I mean, to you he does. Well, that's due to an erosion of society. At one time, we understood that we honored the couple as a whole. We did not see it as, oh, well, that's their problem. No, we respected both the husband and the wife. And so, because of that, we understood that if we were going to be complicit and know that somebody's man is married and we're going to be flat back and doing whatever we're doing, then we understand that we're choosing to participate, and assist in the dishonoring of their spouse, may it be their husband or their wife, right? So that means you share the consequences. And that may mean you just got beat down with a big board of lumber, by the sanctified Holy Ghost, demon stomping, chasing lady that can pray down a glory cloud literally in her living room and arrest everybody in the Holy Spirit in the house. So that same lady decided to beat her with a 4x4 instead of taking that same mouth and praying for your demise or worse. I'm just saying. But yeah, the point I'm getting to is that we have new societal norms, and we have to try to change and move the needle on this where we all understand our societal role in place, that no, it's not okay for me to be sleeping with your husband, like, especially if I know that's your husband. Like, I don't have to guesstimate it for a fact, unequivocally, I know this man is married, and still choose to deal with him, then yeah, we have to accept that there are consequences with that, or choosing to be with somebody white. You get what I'm saying? If you ask men how do they feel about another man sleeping with another man's wife, they have a totally different perception about it. They believe that the lowest of the lowest, doggish of the doggish men sleep with another man's wife, and they also understand his consequence for that. Yeah, he gonna get dealt with. But women, and I think because we're in an era, this sounds so gross to say it, I'm noticing that people are gravitating towards, we're just all sharing men. Like, they're gonna cheat anyway, so we might as well just share. Yeah. Hmm. Well, what works for them may not work for me. Hmm. But I think I told y'all that story about my grandma beat that lady brains out that night. But I feel sorry for this lady. I hope she just get the courage to get away from him, because she deserves so much better, so much better than him. I gotta run, guys. You all have a beautiful, beautiful evening. Once I timestamp Oil Press One, I'll upload it for you. Have a good night.